Well, this afternoon, Joy News has significant data to actually point to the fact and suggest that Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekuful has posted probably a misleading statement to the effect that all persons who are unable to place phone calls today is as a result of their own, quote, inaction. That's what the minister says. In a bid to justify government's decision to sanction the use of unregistered SIM cards, the Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekuful took to Facebook to announce that in spite of public outcry over defects in registration and its process, the minister indicated on Facebook that she will be going ahead and served notice that full sanctions may apply by September. She also has been talking about the background to all of this and why many Ghanaians are unable to access telecommunication services today. Also going ahead to give us a background to where we started off from and what may be happening next in the coming days, particularly within the month of September. So I read that to you. It indicates, first of all, that I informed the media during my most recent meeting that the SIM registration exercise will not be extended past September 30. After evaluation at the end of August, it has been determined that starting the disciplinary steps as outlined in the NTA press release is prudent. Additionally, any SIM that has not yet been completely registered will be enabled to use the voice and internet services. Now, afterwards, using unregistered SIMs will be more expensive. That's what we're getting from the minister. And subsequently, there'll be a press conference in September to actually announce the full scope of sanctions, and that will be revealed by the sector minister herself. And this is the most instructive part of the statement. The concluding part indicates, quote, and I'm reading that if you suffer that fate, which is what you're experiencing now in terms of the restriction of calls, as a result of your, quote, own inaction. So that's the belief of the minister, that this is due to the inaction of many Ghanaians. And she continues to say that kindly do not blame your service providers or the telecommunications agencies. And of course, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. That's the position of the sector minister on this. But we can tell you here that here at Joy News, we're gathering some data that suggests that about 800,000 persons were disconnected and restricted in terms of their services, in terms of calls and some other telecommunication services, which were absolutely done owing to no fault of theirs. We can independently verify that for you, as it appears that the communications minister got some of the facts wrong. So where did she go wrong, and what are the figures that we have for you? Let's point that out to you very quickly. Joining me now is Isaac Ofieje, data analyst with Joy News Research Desk. Isaac, we need to start off from the concerns of the minister. The minister there appears to give us that sense that what's happening is partly as a result of our, quote, own fault. These are the words of the minister, right? But now we're learning that it appears that there are some 800,000 Ghanaians, as much as 800,000, that's a lot of numbers there, who may be experiencing this disservice in terms of telecommunications networks as a result of someone else's fault. So tell us about where the fault is coming from.
And National Identification Authority's own website, and this is their live statistics on the Ghana card registration. So at the moment, we have a little over 17.1 million Ghanaians who have registered on the Ghana card register, and then the number of cards printed is about 16.6 million Ghana cards, exactly.
Right.
16.6 million Ghana cards printed so far. And then if you look at it, the number of Ghana cards issued is about 15.8 million. So if you do a simple math, we have close to 800,000 people who currently have registered their Ghana cards, but do not have them because the cards have not been issued.
So clearly, it's a fact that this is no fault of theirs.
Exactly.
Because if I go through the NIA process, have all my details featured into the system, NIA is expected to give me my
I have
card.
Registered 100%,
right?
But I haven't been able to get my card.
Right.
800,000 Ghanaians currently in that situation, because they have registered, they are part of the 16.8 million cards that have been printed, But if you look at the NIA's own data, live statistics on their website, we have just 15.8 million Ghanaians who currently have their cards issues.
And in fact, here's why we believe that the minister got some of the facts wrong. Because if you look at the requirements for going through the processes for registering your SIM card, you would definitely need the Ghana card, correct?
Exactly.
So the 800,000 persons that we've detected from the NIA database who have gone through the process but do not have their cards,
Simply
obviously
means,
may not be able to go through the process.
They can't go ahead to do the registration process because they do not have the conditional, card, the Ghana card, which is the only card that you can use to re-register your SIM. So if you've deprived me of having the Ghana card, you don't expect me to be able to register my SIM.
A lot more of the issues that we need to point out on the issue of the Ghana card itself, because the National Identification Authority, which is a very instrumental institution in this, does not fall within the purview of the Communications Ministry. That's understandable. But there's a challenge here, even about a backlog that they need to clear. Tell us about that, Phil.
Right, Blessed, I want us to look at this interesting statistics.
Right.
So if you look at the total number of SIM cards we have registered as a country, not registered with a Ghana card, but the total number of SIM cards we have in the system, this is according to the Ministry of Communications' own data.
Right.
As of July 20th, 2022, we had 14.12 million SIM cards in Ghana. Now, if you look at those who have been able to, the number of SIM cards that have been registered for the first stage of registration, re-registration, you have to do it two phases. You have to do the stage one, then go back to the telcos to do the stage two. Now, if you look at stage one, out of the 42.12 million SIM cards we have in Ghana, just 25.626% of them, 25.6 million, have been able to do the first stage, which is just about 60% of the total 42.12 million. If you look at those who have not been able to do the phase one alone, 16.82 million SIM cards have not been able to go through the phase one, 40% of the total number of SIM cards we have as a country. Now let's go to phase two.
Yeah, precisely, because that's
the number then begins to dwindle.
Right.
From 25 million now to 16.05 million, which is just about 38% of the total number.
And here's what we need to say. This was happening as of the time the initial deadline came through. Then there was an extension by the minister.
Let me walk you through the
as part of, yes, and I'll come to that. Sure. As part of the remedial measures, the Communications Ministry indicated to us that, look, we're going to start the cell service app. The belief was that, well, getting through the stage one process would not be a challenge. However, stage two is becoming a challenge because of the long queues and, of course, some persons who are unable to move from wherever they are to the registration center. So let's bring some level of convenience. That was the aim of that exercise. However, it appears that even that platform is having some defects.
Active. And we have two operating systems.
Okay.
Dominantly in Ghana, we have the Android and then the iOS.
Right.
It is being reported that it is available on Android but not available on iOS. So it's kind of a challenge. But the Ministry of Communication also put out data to show the reason why they have to do this.
What's the figure looking like?
They are saying that data indicates that there was close to 90% drop in SIM registration exercise as soon as the first deadline was extended on March 21st, 2022. So let's go through the various deadlines. So the main registration exercise began 1st October 2021. Now, the first deadline that the ministry gave was 31st March 2022. And when this deadline was met, a lot of people had not registered their SIM cards, so it was extended. That was the first time we had the extension.
Yes, precisely.
From the 31st of March to now 31st of July 2022.
Yeah.
Now, the ministry is saying that when we extended this deadline from March to July, we saw that those who were going to register their SIM dropped 90%.
Yeah, immediately after that.
Immediately. So it means you have just 10% who were in the queues
to the centers
interested in registering.
So it then went to the core of the problem, that convenience was becoming a problem for Ghanaians. And that's why we're having the self-service app. It's another challenge altogether. But I'm also interested in persons who have been affected today. A lot of people have been unable to place calls, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And what we're also learning is that some of them have in fact gone through the process?
So we have 16 million SIM cards, about 16 million SIM cards that have not been able to even go through the second stage. Let's take it, fact that these 16 million haven't been able to do it by this time, so they are cut off. Now, there are also people who have done stage 1, stage 2, but still have their SIM cards being blocked.
As we speak today, they are unable to place calls.
Exactly.
They can't make
They
calls.
have done stage 1, stage 2 of the registration, but their cards or their SIMs have still been blocked. We do not know the reason. There are others who have also, they feel they did the 2 stages. You go to the telcos, they tell you that we blocked you because, your biometric details, we weren't able to capture it correctly, so you have to come and that's the reason why we blocked you. People have genuine concern. If you add this to the 16 million, SIM cards that have not been able to go through the second stage, we are looking at somewhere around 18 million. That is the figure for you.
In fact, Isaac, stay with me. Isaac is a data analyst with Joy News Research Desk. He'll be helping us with the figures as we proceed with this conversation. It's a long day on this matter. Have you been able to place a call? And what's your experience? Share it with us on social media as well. But of course, there's a need for us to bring in more stakeholders on this. Stranek is, for instance, questioning the issue about data protection, complaining that even the third party running the self-service app appears to be non-data compliant. We have regulations governing that. Nita Tete is, of course, the executive director for Stranek, joining us via Zoom. We also have Charles Kwesiado. He's spokesperson for the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana. Mind you, this association earlier urged the Communications Ministry to decentralize the process and to try as much as possible to let the mobile money operators run that process. What's their view? We'll take that shortly. Ras Mubarak is also with us. He is leading that charge. He's with the concerned mobile network subscribers. Of course, taking on some civil action and warning of dire consequences if the ministry fails to, heed to the calls that are coming through from the general public. And then there is Kofi Kapito. Kofi Kapito is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Consumer Protection Agency. I'd like to start off with you, Kofi, if you're with us via Zoom. There's this issue about why government appears to be adopting this posture of going ahead regardless of the concerns with the NIA card. Has that occurred to you? And I mean, having had some conversations with you, you believe that this is the time to expand the scope and to bring in, for instance, the passport, which is internationally accepted. What's your view? Kofi, you'd have to unmute for me so I can hear the points you're making.
Hello,
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, I was saying good afternoon to everyone. My issue is, the first point of call is, why did the law that was passed that you can only use the national identification card as evidence for the registration? We are in a country where parliamentarians don't even inform citizens as to laws that are going to be passed that will have an impact on the Ghanaian. My issue is, yes, we all want people to be identified with their SIM card, but there are other government authorized documents, such as passport that you mentioned, such as my driver's license. And if my passport, to me, passport that is even accepted over the borders of Ghana to identify me as a Ghanaian or a resident who lives in Ghana is not accepted, then there's a big challenge. Because in Ghana, people have passports not because they need to travel, but people have passports for identification purposes. And all these passports and driver's licenses are now biometric. The same biometric data that they are trying to let people go get the Ghana card is biometric. I don't get it. Look,
yeah,
I'm in
but
Maryland
when you bring
at
that
the
up,
moment.
when you bring that up, the quick response we always get is that we're moving to a stage of data harmonization. It's always come up.
Can I tell you what? Is Ghana the only country doing that? I am in the United States at the moment. I'm in Maryland, to be precise. Is Ghana more data savvy than the United States. The equipment, the machines, the technology, where did they come from? You can't cry more than the bereaved. And that is the problem that we have in Ghana. I am very worried that even when the law, and like I'm saying, the whole thing started with the law and the premises that parliamentarians passed the law that is only Ghana card, which is the NCA Act or NCA law, that should be used for the SIM registration. Look, Ghanaians want to go and register. Consumers want to make calls. Pay your statistics. If all these numbers are now being disconnected, can you imagine the interruption of business in Ghana today? And we are crying that we don't have money. We are crying that business is not going on well. Look, the app, I had a major concern because an app should be secured for data purposes. The question is, who is behind the app? The app should have been introduced much earlier, like you said, for convenience, so that I don't have to go and queue. I go to, I do the upload on my own phone, then I have to walk all the way to a telco's office for me to be able to finish, even if I have my
the process.
card.
That's an interesting perspective you're bringing to all of this. And in fact, the conversation is just starting. Let me bring in Ras Mubarak, who's also joining us. He's with the concerned mobile network users. And of course, earlier, Ras, you had threatened a raft of measures to pile and mount pressure on government. But looking at the post that we're seeing from the sector minister, Esla Osu-Ekufo, it appears that she believes this is out of the fault of many Ghanaians. And in fact, we have data to suggest that over 800,000 people are having suffered this fate because of the failure of the National Identification Authority.
Well, good afternoon. I'm in a train heading to Toronto, so you may hear kids,
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
crying.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, but the minister is completely out of touch. To think that she wants to do this at a time when hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians do not have the Ghana card. Okay, and it's so disappointing. I think that the minister's action has been enabled by the docility of the Ghanaian public. You can't have a government minister who's paid for by the state, who goes into contracts, refuses to make a full disclosure of what is involved in the contract. And I'll give you a typical example. This mobile app, we don't know who is behind this. We don't know how much it comes to the taxpayer in terms of costs. She has refused completely to be accountable to the people. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, the courts are not a good recourse. And as far as I'm concerned, the only way to stop all of this is for the citizens to assert their rights, where we would have protests. We've seen it happen in France. We've seen it happen elsewhere around the world, where people have said that, look, if our government is refusing to listen to us, then we would take to the streets and get the government to back down on some of the decisions.
Yeah, but
what
rights,
the minister has done,
but you
what
agree,
the minister has done, if
rights
I may land on this,
I mean, Ras,
if I may land on this,
rights will definitely come with responsibility. So if you're not able to go through the registration process, you don't blame government.
But demonstrating is, if you want to know about that, the citizenry. I'm sorry, there's a
yes, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. So if you could just go ahead and make the points that you're making. Yes, we can hear you. We're still having some challenges there. Obviously, Ras Mubarak is not in country, so of course we'll reconnect with him. Let me bring in Charles Kwesiado now, and also there is Ni Tete. Charles, before I come to you, let's hear from Ni, because Ni appears to be coming with that position of Stranek, which of course borders on issues of data protection. It was part of the points Ras was raising earlier. Nee, for you, you have some legal concerns. Tell us about what the law says and what the law requires anytime we're setting up some of these applications. Charles, coming for us, because you are with the mobile money agents as well, your concern was that let's decentralize the process. Here we are today, and it appears that that has not been done. Long queues, we understand, is what we're witnessing out there. Charles?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Charles.
Good afternoon. So what I'm trying to say is that looking at the figures that your analysts gave out, you could realize that, as I earlier indicated, it is of no fault of Ghanaians. Genuinely, over 800,000 Ghanaians, of no fault from them, are facing a challenge because they've not been issued their Ghana card. Fast tracking, you could also see that there are a number of people who have genuinely gone through the process, the first stage, the second stage, and are still banned from making calls and even receiving messages. So this should tell you that the minister is in a haste. I think the object that is behind the whole re-registration of SIM is for betterment of data collection. And this will go a long way to help the ordinary, and therefore the administrations with the people of Ghana. But it seems that she is, I don't know what exactly, as if she has been given time bomb, she's sitting on the time bomb. But we are businessmen, and she's there to serve us. But the opposite is rather happening. If you look at most of her posts, most of her concern, it's like we are under attack. And I want to take this opportunity to say that one with another agency that is both the issuance of the card and that of the Ministry of Communication. They should harmonize their operation. As I earlier put it, that they should decentralize the process. Even with a self-registration process, still we are facing challenge. So I think that they should calm their nerves down. They should give ample time so that everybody will have the opportunity to register his or her SIM. You cannot tell me that 20 out of the 42 million SIM cards as of July, only 25.6% have registered. And therefore, there is no need for the minister to be in a haste. We have a bad luck of close to 16.05 million, which represents 38% of the second stage. So please, the workload is so huge. I want to ask, what has government done differently to make sure that the people of Ghana will have access to the re-registration of their SIM? Government have done nothing. The second stage that you have to go to the telcos, most of the people who have their database captured are still facing challenges because one way or the other, we are being told that the telcos did not have access to the fingerprint. So therefore, the challenges are enormous. We should not rush into it. Continuous process, there is no time bound. The US took time. South Africa did same. Why are we running? Ghana, what is happening?
Interesting. In fact, interesting. Yeah, interesting questions you are asking there as to why the minister appears to be in a hurry. Obviously, there are more concerns. I'll bring in Kofi Kapito shortly. But let's see if Nee Tete has a good connection now. Nee, you are raising some issues about data protection. Kofi, so I'll come to you. Of course, you are in the US as we speak. You're talking about the system and how it's fully functional there. What are the comparative examples you could bring to bear right now, just to give us a sense of how seamless the process is elsewhere, looking at what's happening in Ghana now? Kofi, you would have to unmute so we can hear you. Kofi, you would have to unmute so we can hear the point you're making.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I don't understand why, like I said, it's the fault of our lawmakers. The lawmakers don't listen to the people. So they go ahead and make laws that doesn't make any sense. Honestly, where I am, before a law can be passed, citizens' concerns are taken in consideration. Not just the average American, but even other institutions, stakeholders that might have an impact in the discussion. Look, let me tell you what. Why are we doing things that we are behaving? We are the first people to do it. I don't get it. SIM registration is nothing new. It's an old thing. We always want to reinvent the wheel. Ghanaians always think we are the smartest, we are this, but we are never the people who first introduced anything. We are always doing copycats. Okay, to cut and paste, the easiest thing in anything, and we can't do it as a nation, I have a problem. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Because of somebody's personal interest? Because of some institutions' interest? What about the population? Look, I was listening to Ras Mubarak. He's a former parliamentarian. And like I said, most of the woes in Ghana, I blame it on our lawmakers because they don't care about the people. There's no way that somebody can go and make a law and tell me that I have a driver's license, which is biometric. I have a passport, which is accepted internationally, and I can't use it as a form of identification in my own country. It doesn't make any sense. Look, in the United States, right, your driver's license is a form of identification. Your state ID is a form of identification. Your government-issued ID, let's say the police, the military, all of them, their issued IDs are accepted everywhere because there's a proper data that they have. We don't have anything. Ghana, we talk about even the population of Ghana. We don't even get it right. We always estimate. So what is this rush? I am very, very, very not happy. Okay, first of all, when I listen to Mr. Atefua, the man in charge of National Identification Authority.
Yes, Professor Atefua.
Which I agree with him. NIA does not have a mandate to have a cut-off date. NIA can issue identification 20 years from now. So nobody should tell anybody that by compulsory, the only way you can get your SIM registered is by getting a Ghana card. And there's a lot of challenges going on at the Ghana card. I've been there. I've been to the place at Shiashi. Go there and see. Chaos. And then they tell you if you go to their various branches, okay, like the districts, they are open. I'm asking, how many of your district offices are open? And even if I'm in Wale, okay, how am I going to get my SIM, my identification issued to me? If you go to Burma camp, people are just there to do corrections.
Kofi, and you are just pointing out how frustrating the situation is. It's not even getting any better because Joy News is on the grounds as we speak. My colleague Michael Papanieshale has been monitoring events for us, joining us live now. Michael, where are you? And just take it away and give us a sense of what's happening. Kofi, I'll come back to you.
Blessed. So currently, what you see now are a group of people who are still waiting in line to register their SIM cards. This is the Circle branch of the leading telecommunication company in the country, MTN. Some of them tell me they've been here for hours waiting the opportunity to register their SIM card. But exactly from what you can hear in the background, they are grumbling, they are agitating, and they are angry that they've had to be delayed for hours just to register their SIM cards. I talked to some of them here who are really not happy about the situation here. Bossman, how long have you been here?
Oh, because I live in Mbabia almost 9. In Batasia, no me ameka be afo cheap. Ni be like obalik mene osime obalik osime ke amene Ghana card ona ni e o be kiyo ene wo ba tashi la ya ni money uni mene efio register na weteshi e ka ya yeni eteshi tumo 3 almost come on 334 atwa 334 kwa kwa kusa ba tashi ni mi ke la ke efo ya wo enu tumo ni wonchu keje enu tumo ni wonchu weteshi wote omo YP ni wo ba be elebi ona ni e ni wo ni bi ni wo ba fe si ene ewo e waste time e wo kanu ko ni wo ba nani wo ko ba talk gbekene bi ane eshan bona ni e ame here wan kwale wo kenye no ni chu oni e wo no nye obi e wo nye server wo.
So what he's been saying is that he's been here for a long time. That what he's been told is that he has to wait, and he's been waiting since morning. And the attendant who was supposed to make sure that he goes through the process smoothly took a break, and it took them hours to come back. And he's been sitting closely to where he started from since morning that he's been here. He's not the only one here. A lot more people are here, and they are not happy about the situation. At least they tell us that they've sacrificed their time to be here to register their SIM cards again, but they are not happy about it. Bossman, I mean, why are you angry?
Charlie. I'm very mad, seriously. I'm among the first people who registered. For over 2 years now, my card is not being validated. I've been going up and down. When you go to this office, they say go here, go there. And right now, you've blocked me from getting access. Why? Why should that happen? Why should that happen? The foundation is not good. The foundation of Ghana card is not good. It's not that people don't want to register, but then we don't get access to it. My brothers are not having theirs. So how can they link the Ghana card to their SIM card? You see, it doesn't make sense in Ghana here. One person will just decide for us what to do. It doesn't make sense. For 2 years now, my brother, I've been going up and down just to get my card validated for 2 years. And all, like, to my surprise, this morning, my number has been blocked. Fourth reason, if they should have access, we should get access to do this. It wouldn't be a problem for us, you see.
But the minister says that by your own fault, this is doing by your own doing, that you've refused to register your SIM card for a very long time, and this is the only way that will force you to register your card.
No, we've not refused. We've not refused. In my constituency like this, we only have one place. If this is to spread across the country, everyone will get access. If you have your card and it's being validated, yeah, that one she's right to block. But this is the situation that you go for the registration, you either not get your card, or if the card is given to you, it's not being validated. So how would I link it to my SIM card? That's the situation on ground now. How am I going to link it up? For 2 years now.
So you tell me that your SIM, you've been blocked from making phone calls?
Yes.
I mean, how uncomfortable is that?
Yes. Oh, no. Charlie, I really get upset with that. Because I really get upset. That's why I came here, to find out the reason. You see, and I don't blame MTN for this. Seriously, I don't blame MTN. The minister needs to educate people on how to go. Because I can't leave my job, go to Elwak. I'll leave Accra here to Elwak each and every blessed day. Why? Is she paying me my transportation to that place? I can't do that. I mean, she should know what to do.
What's her name?
My name is Alex. Anas.
Alex, thank you very much for that. So Alex clearly embodies some section of Ghanaians who are eager to register their SIM cards, but by virtue of their problems with their Ghana card, they have not been able to go through that process. It tells me that he's been chasing validation of his Ghana card for a long time, and it's not alone. A lot more people are queued at Elwak as we speak here, but these people still tell me that they've been waiting in line for hours just to register their SIM card here. A lot more people in line. Let me speak to this gentleman here, who's also one of many who are also agitating and not happy about the slow pace of the process. I mean, how long have you been here?
I've been here like 2 hours now, and I don't care about the hours I've been here. These things need to be on process, you understand me? We are fucking up. Ghanaians have been fucking up, you understand?
We want to watch the F word for me, but yes, clearly you're not happy about the situation here.
I don't know what to say, but you know, MTN, they need to like process things up. They need to employ people to go houses to houses, and then you know, to register people. People need not to come here and then waste their time. Oh, it's nonsense. Ending up with nothing. You understand? So we need to talk to the information minister and then talk to the MTN people to know how to do with the citizens of Ghana.
But you said you brought this on yourself. I mean, we've been registering SIM cards for a very long time, but you have refused to register your card. The reason you have to be in a long queue?
Anytime I step to the office whereby I'm trying to register my SIM or whatever, people are here, cloud and things. So I need to go back to my website and then, so on process, I see all these kind of things, you know, we need to shut it up and then employ people. If you want to register your SIM and register your customers, employ people to houses and then they can register customers. In within some few seconds, they can finish with that. For wasting our time here, all is nonsense, boss.
Let me thank you very much. So there's some agitations that you can see in your live shot now. A lot more people now standing up for themselves. Seems they are fed up with the slow pace of work now. Argentina will go for.
Papa, only camera no film. Only me person babaka. Me see. Mu kanche Akufo-Addo say. Boni bay na ya yen. Where? My register did that. My register did that. I know you may are blocking me sim no. Thank you. My register did that. Me sorry anopa we you are blocking me still. My bay life it anopa. You go so online. Why? It's me man call school da. My call TV no so. Man call school da. But we see digital something. Digital something. Ama ye bibia ye basa adebra ya register the na. Ya register. You be say at the end fine. What be that?
Now, is it Oma Black want to be your phone call?
Me to be your phone call, but me to be receiving. It's all more me can nobody say can kwe.
And this is your wedding.
It's na mabano. It's ka me minima Akufo-Addo fie, minimini fear. Me ka say pan Johnny kala we for nin kasama ye no mu ni endi anu kware bra ade misika ade omu di koe ye beto credit ye beto sim na asa ye boni me bemu o Joy FM for me bemu.
So, I mean, she's not the only one. A lot more people are here, and this is where you see the process ending up here. They have to come all the way from the back here, sitting in for hours in a queue. I'm only to get here to do the second stage and the final verification stage. The first stage is where you have to dial the short code and then register, and then you come to the the telecommunication company where you are taken through the final stages of the process with your Ghana card here. But clearly a lot more people are not happy about the process. But earlier you were telling me that you were also not happy. I mean, how long have you been here?
Since morning.
And what have they been telling you?
They say at a point they said the network was slow.
They said the network was slow?
Yes.
How is that possible?
How can we know? Since they know that their network is slow, so why did they block our SIM?
Okay, I mean, that's what they told you, the network is slow.
Yes, so that is what has choked the queue because of the network.
You've been here since morning. Do you have an idea of the time exactly that you came here?
I came here around 9:30.
9:30, and you are now at the front of the queue?
I don't even know what is going on because some people are crossing the queue, so we are here, we don't know. And they'll close around 4, so we don't know our fate, whether we can be registered or we will go and come back tomorrow.
Well, we have about 18 more minutes to 4 o'clock, to 4 p.m. I mean, how does that make you feel that you are here, closed your shop, probably left home, your chores, and you are here and you are unable to still go to the process?
So we don't know. We are around. We don't know what they will say. We don't know whether they will close around 4 or maybe they will buy. Yeah, they will buy time for us to.
I mean, if you don't get to register today, would you still register your SIM card?
I had to register because my SIM have been blocked. I can't make call unless maybe I receive call.
I see. Thank you. What's your name?
Amida,
thank you very much. Yeah. So I've just heard from 2 more women who, for them, fortunately, at least they are at the front of the queue, but a lot more people are behind the queue who, I mean, are frustrated and not liking the pace of work that is being done at this particular what would you call this particular shop here? Bossman, how long have you been here?
Almost also 4 hours now.
4 hours now?
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
I'm here to register machine.
And what have they been telling you?
Up to now, I'm on the queue, and those who are registered, they are not many. Just 3 people. Later, 2 people went. It left 1 person, and we are all sit wait under the queue.
But are you not sure you're not the one who brought this on yourself? You could have registered a long time ago. The minister says that immediately after she announced the extension, places like this were empty. You didn't come. Now that it's getting to the end, you are here again.
Sorry, if you said that the minister said that if a lot of people have been coming and go back, they said they will be back because a lot of people lost their card. A lot of people don't have card. A lot of people did the card, they couldn't get it. So why not to the HI to give the machine to MTN? Any person who lost his card, when you push your finger on the system, they register the person. Simple. And they need more people to register. And the rest from Monday to Friday. Why not Saturday and Sunday? And they should employ a lot of people, the workers, to do the thing for Ghanaians. And we left Ghanaians and so far. Why? Huh?
But so there's an application that's supposed to be used. Why are you not using that, which is supposed to be an easier process? You could just pick up your phone, go on the internet, download the app, and just register yourself.
I did it. You know, the system is not correct. The system is not working. When you are doing the sorry, try again later. When you sorry, try again later. So what's their duty? I want to know as the duty of MTN or the minister. Oh, Ghana, I don't understand the way people are doing this.
What's your name?
My name is Idris Abdul Karim.
Idris, thank you very much. Yeah. So, Blessed, a lot of people in queue, waiting at least. They've availed themselves to go through the SIM card re-registration exercise here. But they have to battle long queues and again, challenges with the system. They've been told for hours that the system is down, and at best, what they get is that the system is slow. They only hope that this process can be fast-tracked. Contrary to what the minister says, many of them tell us that they've been trying to go through the system, even with the online application, but that doesn't seem to be helping much with the situation.
My colleague Michael Papatni Shade joining us from Ring Road live there. You see a lot of frustration. It's 3:46, just about 14 minutes away from that official closing time, and that's going to be scarier because obviously the crowd that you see out there may not have that opportunity to go through the process today. If you've been unable to make calls, well, it's unfortunate. The minister says partly it's your fault. Let's see what the official response will be. In fact, we must put on record that we've made attempts to hear from the National Communications Authority on this. Absolutely no one is available to speak to us right now, not even from the ministry. So that tells you what the situation is. We've tried our very best. We're still waiting for that official communication. When it comes, we'll deal with that. But for now, we'll deal with the words of the minister. Kofi, let me bring you in. But just before I do that, we're getting even a new dimension from Kofi, who is in studio with us. So Isaac, tell us about it. That foreigners are allowed to, for instance, use their passports.
Yeah. So
but Ghanaians are not allowed to use their passports to do the registration.
Card we have 2 types.
Right.
We have Ghana cards for indigenes,
right,
and Ghana cards for foreigners. So if per our laws, if you're a Ghanaian, you can hold up to about 10 SIM cards as an individual. If you're foreign, about 3. So currently, if you're a foreigner, you can re-register your SIM with your passport. But if you're a Ghanaian, you need your Ghana card. And even with foreigners, they have a deadline. And the deadline is by December 2022, which is this year. You have to make sure you get the Ghana card for foreigners, right, so that you can update your details that you registered with your passport.
Yeah. So if a foreigner goes to any of these registration centers with a passport, it's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed. But by December, you have to make sure you get Ghana card. Foreigners.
So they have at least some laxity in terms of the time. Why are we not doing that for Ghanaians anyway? And also there's a new dimension about the figures that you're putting out in terms of our registration. What more do we need to know about
So, Blessed, I want to imagine you're a consumer. You have, let's say, an MTN or a Vodafone SIM or Airtel Tigo, and you subscribe to data. Let's say about 50 cedis worth of data. And then you anticipate you're going to use it for the day, and then all of a sudden you wake up to hear that your SIM has been blocked.
Yeah.
It simply means that some of the data is time bound. You are going to lose data at the end of maybe 24 hours. But we also know that in terms of people being blocked, we find some dynamics. So for instance,
you can receive calls.
Exactly. So for instance, my mom, for instance, she told me that she can't receive calls, she can't also make calls.
But there's someone who's registered.
She has registered both first stage and second stage. She went to the telco's office. They told her, oh, sorry, we couldn't capture your biometric details properly.
That's how challenging the situation is right now. Kofi, and of course, you've seen the live pictures for yourself.
Like I said, I am very disturbed when can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
When non-Ghanaians, foreigners, are entitled to use a passport, but a Ghanaian in my own country, I can't use my passport. The country that issued the passport for me. You know, you ask yourself, when we appoint people, you see, and they behave as if they are there for a lifetime. Whoever that is behind this and being difficult, look, there are speculations as to why we are all being forced to use this Ghana card for this same registration. Some people are connecting it to the elections and whatever. But to me, every Ghanaian needs to be identified. I agree, because where I am at the moment, you do need an ID card, but there are other additional ID cards which should be accepted. Like I said earlier, we don't live in some Russia where there's a dictatorship as to what one can do, what one can eat, and where one can sleep. We live in a democratic country, free movement and free everything. The question is, yes, let's all be identified. But the question, what I'm saying is, we can do things a little different. When somebody is telling me they have introduced an app, okay, as to how the app came about, nobody knows. As to how secured that app is, nobody knows. We are talking about my data here. Look, identity theft. I don't know whether you've heard about it.
Right.
Identity theft is one of the most lucrative business in the world at the moment. Identity theft. People sell identity and information for money. Who is this person that is behind the app? We are not even asking these questions. The minister is not also telling us these answers. And she is pouncing around as if Ghana belongs to her. I know her personally. She's more like my younger sister. But I think time has come that she should listen to Ghanaians for once and say, you know what, I don't have it all. I don't know it all. So how can we all get to a final destination?
Yeah, and I'm hoping at this point that Kofi would also place a call to her. Let's see what response will be on that. But let me bring in Ras Mubarak as well. I hope that we have a stable connection now. Ras, we've just shown live pictures of what is happening around Ring Road. And in fact, bringing in the aspect of the e-levy, for instance, shortly. But even before we get to that, let's deal with the concerns that we've just watched on our screens right now. Yes, Ras, your take on the concerns from the general public, asking that, of course, the telcos, together with government, do something about this.
What I'm saying is that it's extremely tragic that, you know, we would treat our own citizens in a manner that the Ministry of Communications through the NCA is treating citizens. What I know for a fact is that if they were to block my line, and by the way, I haven't registered, I would sue the telecommunications company, because my contract is with the telecommunications company and not NTA or the Ministry of Communications. The minister clearly out of touch. She's refusing to listen to anyone. I mean, how do you run a system where you are forcing people to mass up at registration centers just for the registration of their SIM cards. No one is opposed to it, but the manner in which it's done by itself is not constitutional. We have made this point clear from day one. The blocking of people's lives is also not constitutional. And I would encourage all Ghanaians whose lines are blocked to seek legal remedy, either here in Ghana or abroad if they can, because some of these companies are multinational companies and can be sued here and out of the country if they would not get justice. Okay? To have a successful SIM registration process, because many people do not have their Ghana cards yet, you could run it in a manner where the process is ongoing. You get your Ghana card, you go and register. Secondly, you could also tie it to service. So somebody goes to renew their driver's license. If they haven't registered their SIM card or re-registered their SIM cards, they don't get a renewal. That way, it eases the pressure of people. Now, how do you tell foreigners in your own country that they can use your passports, but your citizens cannot? How do you tell your own citizens abroad that if they lived abroad, they could re-register their SIM cards, but your citizens in your own country cannot use their, passports to re-register? So it's absurd, it's bizarre, but fundamentally, because Kofi Kapito was making a point about the law being bad. I agree with him that the law is bad. But you see, Kofi, the people who are in parliament and in public office are a reflection of who we are as a society. So if you're getting bad politicians to pass bad laws, they are our own kith and kin.
So you are blaming you're blaming it on the people then. But Ras, just hold on with us. Ni Tete is also executive director for Stranek. They are also having some issues with the self-registration app. Ni, by law, you're arguing that Excel Company Limited, which was awarded this contract, is not data compliant. How so? And kindly unmute for me as you make your point, Ni. Ni, you would have to unmute as you make the point.
A minute. Let me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello. Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Ni.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening or good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. Yes. So, at Stranek Africa, our point has been very simple. We did our thorough checks and we realized that the Ghana SIM card self-service app was manufactured by Excel Limited. Excel Limited, per our checks, is a United Kingdom registered company. Now, we also noticed that once you key in your details with that app that the Ministry of Communication and Digitization had recommended, it means that those details will go to that private individual or that private company before it is transferred to government. And that's where we are raising a red alarm. That is clearly a breach of our Data Protection Act and also our national constitution. If particularly you read Section 17 and 18 of the Data Protection Act and Article 18 of our national constitution.
Yeah,
that's where we are raising. Right. That's where we are raising.
Right, and you might want to be stable for me as you make the point. But this Excel company that we're talking about, do we know the profile of the company and where they are domiciled?
Yeah, so you can take your phone right now and go to Apple Store or Play Store, depending on the phone you are using, and go to Ghana Self-Service app. It will show you there, to show you the name of the company. And once you look at it, you will see all the details there. It is not something that it's a secret. Once everybody can access it and see the things that we are saying. And that's why we are raising a red alarm that, the idea of solving the inconvenience by government is good. But if we have to give our details to a private company before going to a government, then that clearly means that our confidential information has been sold like a tabletop tomato business. It also means that we are naked before the world, because we cannot tell what a private individual is going to use our details for before even government is going to use our details. And that's why we are raising a red alarm, thinking that government would have to halt that and maybe re-strategize that thing. Yes, continue with that app, but that app should not be given to a private individual before even being handed over to government. Because after government uses the information per what they want to do regarding the SIM card registration through the Ghana card, saying the Ghana card is the sole card for registration, what next would Excel Limited use our data for? That's the question we ask ourselves. But once Ghanaians are sure that, yes, once I log in my details into that app, it goes straight to government and not some company somewhere in the UK before coming here, they're more than confident to use that app, right? And of course, if government does not reposition itself using this app to complete stage 2 of the SIM card registration, it's actually going to open the floodgates for litigation. And even demotivate Ghanaians from registering through the app, which is also mean that so there'll be some loss of our revenue.
And I understand you've
that part.
Yeah, and I understand you've put the system to a test already. Some iOS users are unable to effectively use the platform. For Android, yes, it appears to be working not so effectively because some still have challenges using the Android system. But for iOS, it appears that it's completely out of service for such users.
Yeah, so that should tell you that all the things that we are saying, they are true. That yes, our thorough checks, these are clear. That government has not done well. They are actually on a platform of selling our confidential information on a tabletop tomato, like a tabletop tomato business. And that is where we are very much concerned. And so if we are glad that you have even raised this part of this app, which we think that government will have to reposition itself and do the right thing. Yes, as we said, it's a good idea, it's a good thing, of course. It's also to prevent that long queue in telecommunication centers and other centers that have been taxed to do that. Yes, but let's do it and do it well. And that's where we come to protecting our personal information so that at least it doesn't end up being a breach of our Data Protection Act and also our national constitution. Well, you bear with me that confidential information are very, very important. You will not want your confidential information to be out there to a private individual on just a very free basis, just because you have actually downloaded an app and you've logged in because you believe that your government is doing a good work, only to realize that it has been given to some private company, and that private company will now have to transfer to government. Yeah, I'm sure you will be very much worried in that regard, and that's why we clearly think that government will have to hasten slowly, do the work properly. And of course, there are many Ghanaians who can set up an app and go straight to government. Why did they go all the way to the United Kingdom to do that work? It's even a great worry, but of course, it comes down to the same thing that we are saying. That yes, indeed, let us do the tuning well. Let's get the app rightly done.
Okay.
And let it go straight to the bosom of government, not to the bosom of a private individual where we cannot be rest assured of what the person will use our data for.
I'm grateful. Dee Tete is Executive Director for Stranek Research. Let's round off the conversation. I'll come to you, Kofi, and then Ras. But then, more importantly, there's the issue about the Mobile Money Merchants Association. Charles Ado speaks for the group. He's with us. But Charles, just before I hear from Charles, Kofi, the angle about the e-levy. There are implications for the e-levy.
So, Blessed, with 42 million SIM cards, Ghana government projected to get 6.99 billion for 2022 e-levy. And they realized that this was not feasible, so they actually revised it downwards to 4.5 billion.
That's the target we're working with.
Exactly. Right. After 4.5 billion, they realized we can still get a 4.5 billion with 42 million SIM cards. So they revised it now to 600 million for the entire 2022. Now, if you look at the Ministry of Finance's fiscal data, and you check how much we've collected so far, the reported amount by the Ministry of Finance is around 93 million Ghana cedis.
Way below
exactly.
The 600
we are supposed to get
target.
1.6 billion for the second quarter of 2022, and we are recording 93 million Ghana cedis, which is way below the target.
The projection.
And so if you look at the data, mobile money, if you look at the active mobile money users, It's actually, it went up more than some 8%, but the volume of transaction actually dipped a bit. But how much government is getting as e-levy is actually very small if you compare it to what government actually projected to get. So we asked ourselves, how much is government also losing as a result of this action?
Right.
So consumers
and
are
mind you,
losing.
there's the service charge component of it as well, because people obviously people obviously buy data. There's the issue of airtime and some other transactions which these telcos engage in, where government raises revenue. Revenue is critical to government now.
So in this situation, we find government losing, individuals losing, and telcos themselves.
Isaac, in fact, we've painted the picture enough. Isaac Ofieje is data analyst at our research desk. But let me wrap up with you. Charles, I'll start off with you. Charles, what's your final position on this? So Ras, I'll start off with you then, because we don't have Charles. Ras Mubarak, you'd have to unmute so we can hear you. And for you, Kofi Kapito?
Hello?
Yes, okay, Ras is back. So Kofi, just hold on for me briefly. Ras, yes, your final words.
Okay, so clearly the public would have to assert their right by protesting, by boycotting, as we insist, because this can't be right, and with very little confidence in the courts, the only way to have the government back down on this intransigent position would be acts of civil disobedience, where people who have been affected would, stay in the streets for longer, where boycotts could be used as also a tool to get government to do the right thing. Whatever is in it for the minister, we all know that this entire exercise is being influenced by, some level of a disregard. How do you procure a services from a company that you don't even advertise? And when the public ask about it, you don't care enough to even tell the public how the company came to win the award of the contract or how much it is costing the Ghanaian public. So for me, the only way to settle this would be mass civil disobedience, acts of protest in the streets, like we saw in the Yellow Vest protest in France, like we've seen with the Velvet Revolution and other revolutions that have forced the hand of government to do the right thing.
And Kofi, kindly unmute as you make the point. Your final words.
My final word is, listen, convenience is very, very important. I'm sure Ghanaians would like to register their SIMs because the law says we should register the SIMs for identification purposes. I'll encourage every Ghanaian who hasn't done so to do so, but I also encourage the Minister for Communication that they should make the process a lot easier. Look, there's only...
I'm sorry to rudely interrupt, but the law says register. It doesn't say you should re-register. This is what many people are not getting.
All I'm saying is,
whether re-register. It doesn't say you should re-register. Yes, sir.
What the question is, at the end of the day, we want people to register. So if somebody is saying re-register, there's no problem. All I'm saying is make it convenient for me. It doesn't have to be a cost to me in terms of time and stopping what I'm doing to go and stand in a queue for hours or maybe days. This is where my concern is as a consumer advocate. My issue is, look, it's only in Ghana, and I don't want to take you on the MP's issue, which is the parliamentarian, that you agree with me that the law is not good because I am not in parliament. You are my representative. So it is your duty to let me know what is going on. So we would argue that some other time.
Right.
But the issue, let's encourage Ghanaians to be able to do this exercise because it's very, very important. But my issue is nobody should feel like because they have power. The power you have, I mean, for crying out loud, if you're talking about the minister, her power will stop in 2 years' time.
Interesting.
This is what appointees in Ghana sometimes don't understand. It's a temporary position. This is not a king or a stool that you can say because you are a family member, you can stay on it till you die. Every appointee has a time bound, that they need to understand. Listen to Ghanaians. Ghanaians are saying that we agree with you. I agree with her that we need to register. But what is happening now is not what Ghanaians should be experiencing at all.
Anyway, and we'll see what the official response will be, but I'm grateful to Vika Picho, to Ras Mubarak, Charles Ado, and Ni Tete for joining us. There's also this